Bonjour et bienvenue sur ma chaîne. I'm Cindy from Frencheezee.com and today we're going to talk about FlashAcademy. FlashAcademy is a language learning app primarily centered around vocabulary learning, so you won't see a lot of grammar lessons on there, but still a few to get you started. But you have to remember that it's primarily a vocabulary learning app. This video is sponsored by FlashAcademy, but I must tell you that I am the one who approached them because I use their app myself to learn Spanish and I really like it. This is why I want to talk to you about it, because I feel that you could benefit from it. And there is a 10% discount in the description for their flash sticks if you're interested. So let's have a look at the app. So when you first load the app, you'll have to pick which language you want to learn. So you have four courses to choose from: French, Spanish, German or Italian, but you can also pick one of the languages down there, but they're not actually 4 courses. But anyway, today we are interested in French, which I've already downloaded. So you need the internet to first download the course, but then once it's downloaded, you'll be able to use it offline. So as I was saying earlier, this app is primarily vocabulary focused. As you can see, you can learn here basics, vocabulary about food and drinks, family, friends and pets, etc. But within the lessons, it actually does have some grammar tips and some useful cultural information. And another good thing about this app as well is that the lessons are structured according to your level. So if you're a beginner, you can choose between all of those lessons. And then if you're intermediate, you can choose between those. And then advanced starts here. What's also good about this app is that you don't have to follow them in order. So if, for example, you're not interested in learning vocabulary for food and drink because you're already confident with it, or for whatever reason, you can just skip it and say, learn about home, time and leisure instead. Also, if you're not a beginner, you can go straight to intermediate without any problems. So let's pick something in intermediate: traveling. You need to say OK, and then it will download it for you. And here are a few fun facts while you wait, which I think is kind of cool because who likes waiting? Right, here we are. So once you get into the topic that you've chosen, you get loads of different lessons. So most of them are vocabulary lessons, but usually you also have a grammar lesson. When you get inside the topic, then you do have to follow the lessons in order. So let's have a look at how these lessons work. Begin. Traveling somewhere. So you can choose between starting the lesson or viewing flashcards. I would advise you to start the lesson first because the flashcards are basically mainly a way to revise the lesson quickly.
L'embarquement.
I'll just go through the exercises so that you can see how they work.
L'embarquement.
So it pronounces the word for you, and then you can also watch a video, which is good because it's a different speaker, so you get 2 different ways of pronouncing the word.
L'embarquement.
And this is also a bit slower, which is useful. Here it wants me to find the correct translation for l'embarquement, boarding.
L'embarquement. Partir. Partir.
This is where you have to select the picture that means partir, which really you should have memorized from the previous slide. But personally, I don't really find this exercise very useful because most of the time I just concentrate on the pronunciation and the way the word is spelled, and I don't always pay attention to the image. So often I make a mistake here. Also, I find that the images are not always very self-explanatory. I don't know. I would say it's probably that one. Yeah.
Partir.
Right, here's a grammar tip, which is a good thing about this app because it is vocabulary focused, but it does give you a few grammar tips which won't overwhelm you because usually they're essential grammar tips but not overly complicated.
La frontière.
La frontière. I would advise you to try and repeat it even though it doesn't have a facility to record yourself, which I think is a bit of a shame, but still try and repeat it because practice makes perfect. Right, a culture tip. This might come in handy, since France is a member state of the European Union. Its citizens are allowed to cross the internal borders of EU countries without being subjected to border checks. This is known as the l'espace Schengen. It's great if you love travelling. So, yeah, I find that the culture tips are actually quite good because I personally use the Spanish version because I don't need to learn French. And I find that the culture tips are often things that I didn't actually know. Next. Right, here we have to spell like the French translation for abroad from the letters that are down here. So, A, l'étranger.
À l'étranger. Inoubliable. Inoubliable.
Inoubliable. So here you have to listen and then select the correct translation. So she said inoubliable, which means unforgettable.
Inoubliable.
Unforgettable. I won't go through all the exercises because it will take a very long time and make for a very long video, but basically all the ones that we've seen up until now is repeated several times but with different words. Right, here we have to translate the sentence. So basically reorder the words that are here. The arrival is scheduled for 3 p.m. L'arrivée est prévue pour 15 heures.
L'arrivée est prévue pour 15 heures.
J'ai décidé de partir à l'étranger la semaine prochaine.
Vraiment? Où vas-tu?
Je vais en France. Mon petit ami et moi allons séjourner dans un village à côté de la frontière belge.
C'est super. Qu'est-ce que vous avez prévu de faire là-bas?
On ne sait pas encore, mais on pense faire une randonnée.
So basically what you have to do here is listen to the dialogue, and of course you can also read it, and then say if the statement below is correct. So it says Isabel is going away next week. So you can read it again. You can also re-listen to individual sentences.
J'ai décidé de partir à l'étranger la semaine prochaine.
So she's decided to go abroad next week. But is she actually going away next week? Yes, she is, because it says Je vais en France. So we say true. That's actually my favorite exercise. When I do like the Spanish version, I really like it because what I do is I try to not look at what's written and see if I actually understand it when it's being like spoken. And then if I haven't quite understood it, then I go and read it and then decide if it's true or false. And you can also translate the dialogue. Let's see what that's like. Okay, so you see all the dialogue in English, which is quite neat as well. Right, continue. Yay, well done, lesson completed. Continue. And then basically carry on with the next lessons. So once you completed the first lesson, you've got access to the games, which is quite cool because they're actually kind of fun. So let's have a look at them. Word game, score as many points as you can before your time runs out. So if it's your first time playing, you can actually watch a quick demo which will explain how to play each game. But I'll briefly go over it with you so that we don't need to have a look at the demo. So start. So here we need to drag to spell word in any direction. So basically we need to spell to arrive. So arriver. Yay! Here we need to say if this word is this word. So that's not it. That's not it. It's not it. Not it. Yes. Yes. Here we need to match the pairs. So se baigner means, where is that? To bathe, and so on. Matching balloons. So again, it's a matching game. So departure, le départ. To relax, se détendre. And guided tour, la visite guidée. And obviously you need to do that as quickly as you can. To score the maximum amount of points. Right, here we need to tap when we see that word appear at the top. So lively, animé. Look! Yay! Cave. We need to find which one means cave. La grotte. Cave even. Oh god. Hey! So, obviously because I was explaining it to you, I got quite a low score. What I find good about the games is that it's quite addictive really, because you always want to beat your score. So, obviously if I did it again, I'd most likely beat it if I didn't explain everything at the same time. And I find that I actually learn new vocabulary through playing the games, as well as obviously doing the lessons. But if, for example, I've forgotten something from the lessons, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what that means. So it's actually, it reinforces what you've learned really, but in a fun and entertaining way. So we won't play again. Exit. Now let's have a look at what's down here, because we've explored this. So you can go to your profile, and here you can see basically how you're doing. The great feature here is that you can add friends to compete against. So if you tap here, you can add friends that use the app as well, by either using their email address or their Facebook account. So if ever you want to add me, feel free to do so. My email address is frencheezee@hotmail.com. Another cool feature of FlashAcademy, which I believe actually is exclusive to them, is the object scanner. So if you click on the middle button here, you can either scan an object around you to know what it's called, or scan flash sticks. Here are some flash sticks. Oops, it's a bit sticky. Those are actually like post-it notes, so it's sticky behind them, so you can stick them on whatever you want. So let's scan it. So it scans it, and then
La lune de miel, honeymoon, la lune de miel.
A native speaker pops up on your screen and pronounces the word for you. Another thing you can do with the scanner is scanning objects around you. Now, I personally would not recommend this feature to beginners because it's not always completely accurate. The words are quite often in the wrong order, and also sometimes a little bit too detailed. For example, it will tell you like the color of the object as well as, I don't know, what it's made of and all that. So if you're not able to pinpoint the word that you're after from a list of words, then I wouldn't advise you use this very much. But if you're at intermediate level or advanced and you've just forgotten a word but you know that you would be able to recognize it from a list of words, then this object scanner comes in very handy. So let's have a look at it. So I've got a pen here, so we'll scan it and see what it says. So switch it over, translate object, take the picture, yes, and let's see.
Stylo rétractable rouge et blanc.
So this time it's actually in the right order, but you would still need to know that stylo is what you're after if you want to say pen. And they're obviously at opposite ends here, which if you're a beginner you might not know. But very often it actually does have the words in the wrong order. Let's see if I can find something that would show that. So let's try scanning this cup instead and see what it says.
Tasse rouge et blanc en céramique de café solitaire.
Tasse rouge et blanc en céramique de café solitaire. Well, tasse is the word for mug, but because it's a feminine word, it should actually say blanche and not blanc. Then it tells you what it's made of, like the material, and then it says coffee. Shouldn't it be tasse de café, rouge et blanche? And then solitaire. Why solitaire? It is a bit confusing. There is too much information here. The words are, I mean, I've seen worse than this. They're somewhat in the right order, but not quite, because it should have been tasse de café. But yes, so too much information, somewhat in the wrong order, and what's this word there for? So if this feature was going to be useful to you, basically you'd have to be able to know that tasse is the word you're most likely after, which means cup or mug. So sometimes it's accurate, sometimes it's somewhat accurate, and sometimes it's not accurate at all. So when you download the app, you'll have access to a few lessons for free. But once you've completed that, and if you're happy with, basically if you want to carry on, then you can click on store and purchase a subscription. I personally find the prices reasonable, especially if you go for the basically paying 6 months or 12 months upfront, because then it's roughly £3 a month. And also, if you get a 12-month subscription, then you also get a free pack of FlashSticks, which is definitely a bonus, because what you can do with FlashSticks is stick them to the object you're trying to learn what it's called in French. It's kind of like a passive way of learning new vocabulary rather than basically staring at the word in a book. It's a way to basically learn vocabulary as you go about your daily life. So I think that's cool as well. So now let's talk about the pros and cons of FlashAcademy. Let's start with the pros first. So it caters to every level, so whether you're a beginner or you're at a more advanced level, there will be something in there for you. It also has many topics that you can study, so you can learn vocabulary on many different topics. You don't have to follow the topics in any particular order. So if you want to skip something because you're not interested in the vocabulary related to a particular topic, then that's absolutely fine. FlashAcademy also caters to all learning styles. So as you've seen in the exercises and the lessons, it gets you to listen, it gets you to look, like read, and it also gets you to actually do. So whether you're someone who learns better by doing or by listening or by seeing, basically you're catered for. And that's actually what I personally think is the strength of this app, is that it focuses on all the different learning styles at once. So it's very efficient in actually teaching you some vocabulary. You're not just looking at words and trying to get it to stick in your mind. You're actually doing something to actually get it to stick in your mind, other than just looking. Another pro is that you can compete against your friends, which can be very motivating. I don't actually have any friends on there yet, but hopefully some of you will add me on there and then we can have some fun. So what I would say is the main pro of this app, the strength of this app, is that it really does help you learn new vocabulary, and it does also have a few grammar tips and cultural tips, but nothing too much that's going to overwhelm you and then basically prevent you from actually learning what you're wanting to learn in the first place, i.e. vocabulary. You know, if the grammar lessons, in my opinion, if the grammar lessons were more involved, then the app would become more about grammar, and then you would kind of like focus on that and possibly get overwhelmed and then not actually learn vocabulary, which would defeat the object of the app. And finally, the big bonus is that the prices are reasonable. Now let's talk about the cons of the app. There are 3 main cons that I can think of, which in the scheme of things is actually not that many. The fact that you don't have full access to a keyboard when they ask you to translate a word, so they give you the letters and you have to reorder the letters. I think that's good for beginners, but I would have liked to have full keyboard access for people at intermediate or more advanced level, because then really they shouldn't need a clue to be able to translate the word. So I think it would be good to see that included in the future. Another thing is that it focuses mainly on listening and reading, but it doesn't actually focus on speaking, which I think is a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have, like, for example, when they show you the FlashSticks and the person speaks, it would have been nice to have a button to record yourself and then compare your recording with that of the native speaker, which sadly that feature is not included in the app, but maybe in the future. And the third cons is that though the object scanner is a very good idea and it's innovative, it doesn't always, like, it's not always accurate. I would like it to be a little bit more accurate than it is, and maybe a little bit less detailed as well, so that beginners could make best use of it. Basically what the object is, not the description of the object, if that makes sense, because I think that would have been much more accurate. But as it stands, the words are often in the wrong order, which I think is a shame, but maybe in the future that will also get improved, I don't know. But despite the cons, I do know that the team at FlashAcademy is always busy behind the scenes, and they are always improving their app. So I am pretty confident that the features that I feel are lacking now, that they're going to be included sometime in the future. Over the 18 months I've been in touch with them, the app has improved so much that I am very confident that it will keep on improving, and hopefully the cons that I found will no longer be there because it will have all those features and more. Anyway, if you're interested in either purchasing FlashSticks or trying the app out for yourself, all the links you need are in the description, and you'll also find the discount code for FlashSticks in there as well. À la prochaine! Bye!